Advantage Blaney.
Here comes Harvick. Hard into turn one, and around goes a two. Too big of a push. He caught the 41. Hard into the wall is the 43.
Almost.
The momentum. The 18. They make contact. The 18 into the wall. They're side by side again. Going into three.
This is NASCAR, an old sport that some say has no place in 2018, but utilization of social media and the fans embracing it say otherwise.
The 18 into the wall. The 42 side.
Viewership is down on TV, but this is common for many sports and television programs. Where the numbers are hitting all-time highs is streaming and audience engagement. There are two distinct sides of social media for NASCAR. On Facebook, there are more angry fans that claim the sport is dying. As you can see in the Facebook comments, there's accusations of cheating, the sport dying, and that people shouldn't win the championship because they're not their favorite driver. And there's even more people who write long paragraphs to say why the sport's terrible and how long they've been watching, and that because they've been watching it means that they can say if the sport's going to die or not. If you move to Twitter or Reddit, they're optimistic and happy about the sport. On Twitter, the fans are more happy and want to talk about how much they enjoy the sport and how happy they are coming back in February. On Reddit, every week there's a pre-race and post-race discussion for the fans that go on Reddit. It's always a constructive conversation with people voicing their opinions and having discussions about what they think is wrong and not just yelling about it and not caring what anyone else has to say. Even the paragraphs are well thought out instead of people screaming about how the sport is going to die. This is an interesting social media mob. On one side, the people who love the sport, and on the other, people who claim it's dead. In Clay Shirky's Here Comes Everybody, Chapter 2 talks about how sharing anchors a community. To quote, he says, "Groups of people are complex in ways that make those groups hard to form and hard to sustain. Much of the shape of traditional institutions is a response to those difficulties. New social tools relieve some of those burdens, allowing for new kinds of groups forming, like using simple sharing to anchor the creation of new groups." As a community around the sport is split, I theorize this is more an age split than anything. The older generation of fans are on Facebook while the younger ones are on Twitter and Reddit. The audience is still engaging either way. Which one is better for the sport is yet to be seen. The involved audience has also become reporters for the sport and the racing community. For example, Jeff Gluck is a reporter that is funded completely by fans and is seen as one of the best reporters at the track. Jeff Gluck's reporting is important because it's not paid for by NASCAR or anyone affiliated with NASCAR, but by the fans alone. This means that it's unbiased. This is important because the fans want to hear the opinions of NASCAR from someone who isn't being paid to say them. Other racing outlets, such as Dirt Racing, has recently taken off due to NASCAR drivers partaking and tweeting about it. This has led to a grassroots revival of racing. In the clips here, it shows Dirt Racing with one of the prominent social media figures and racers in NASCAR, Kyle Larson, an interview with him about why dirt racing is important.
For the lead, Kyle Larson to the inside of Shane Stewart. Slide job, no. Larson unable to complete the pass. He'll follow Shane Stewart down the back straightaway. Stewart makes the move to the inside of Craig Kinsler. Kyle Larson goes around the outside out of turn 4. You've got a new race leader. Kyle Larson from ninth leads on lap number 23.
Going back to race them whenever I can. I get to run, about 20 to 25 dirt races a year and try and, put on a show. NASCAR stuff, it's points racing and a lot bigger sponsors and stuff you have to please and all that. You're there for 3 days a week, so your approach is a little bit different there. Where sprint cars, you're there for 5 or 6 hours and moving on to the next racetrack.
The diversification of the community has made it more complex but separated some groups of fans. Whether this fan engagement lasts is another question, but as long as there is an audience engaging, it is good for the sport. In conclusion, the growing community through new media has saved the sport of NASCAR and helped bolster other racing outlets such as dirt racing and small tracks.